Hey there, welcome back to Sea Power. Welcome to our first campaign. There is a new beta branch available for Sea Power, and that includes this little button that says Campaigns. Sea Power was promised to come with dynamic campaigns, but it's an early access title and they're still working on that. But what we do have is Calculus of Conflict. It's a linear campaign. Set during a tense standoff between NATO and the USSR, Calculus of Conflict explores the air-naval struggle across the Atlantic and the North Pacific. From covert submarine surveillance to high-stakes surface action near the GIUK Gap, players must manage escalation in rapidly deteriorating geopolitical crisis. Sounds fun. Sounds exactly what Sea Power should be. Now, again, it's not a dynamic campaign where the impact for, let's say, the choices you make in one scenario are probably going to impact the next. So it's going to be a linear campaign. Let's see, back to the old grind, eh? Skylab mission concludes successfully. Okay, that's good. The USNS Vanguard returns to Navy service. This is March 8, 1988. Tensions then rise at sea a little later. It's now May 1st. Increasing tensions in the far north. The most alarming confrontation occurred late Wednesday when the US destroyer John Paul Jones reported a near collision with a Soviet frigate. Soviets can't drive. The Soviet Navy, in turn, has accused the US of reckless and provocative operations within what it calls its maritime security zone. Yes, of course. They're also conducting missile tests, and we have the US ships which are getting rerouted in a decisive show of force. They have rerouted a surface action group from its Mediterranean operations to the Arctic Circle. Huh. Indications and warnings. We have SIGINT, indicating that the USSR is set on increasing hostile actions against NATO forces. Great. They've undertaken an aggressive posture in both the North Atlantic and Arctic regions, including increased submarine patrols, missile tests, and naval confrontations with the NATO forces. The Delta III represents the first Soviet ballistic submarine capable of launching MIRVed EDs. These are multiple independent retargetable entry vehicles, or targetable re-entry vehicles, specifically significantly enhancing Moscow's nuclear deterrent and shifting the strategic balance. Okay, Operation Shadow. Stealthily surveil a Soviet test of a new Delta III submarine's R-29R missile. There's one of those subs underway in the Arctic, preparing to test launch a new ballistic missile variant that would greatly enhance the capabilities of first strike on NATO countries. Multiple NATO assets are in the region, conducting covert and overt detection and intelligence gathering on the attempted launch. I like the briefing. It reminds me a bit of the Cold Waters system, where you click through a couple of the briefings in order to get to the mission. Or rather, in order to get to the campaign. So let's see how this is going to unfold. Here's the situation. Operation Shadow. Amidst increased tensions between NATO and Warsaw Pact, the USSR are preparing to conduct a submarine-launched missile test from a new Delta III. That's right there. This is an approximate location, so we don't exactly know where it is. We'll probably have to find it. We have the Kilauea over there to the north. It is underway intending collected flight data. And that is only once the missile launches, but we're also going to have to try and pick it up with these two Kobben-class submarines. That's very interesting. I've very, very rarely used these Kobbens. Expect the Delta III to get underway within the next 24 to 48 hours. A US SAG is assessed as underway in the local op area, potentially shadowing... a USSR, not ours, of course. Assess that the USSR is unaware of the K&M presence in the area. How are we supposed to assess that? Alright. Oh, you're not going to give me control over the Kilauea? Huh. So you're just going to give me two submarines. Okay. That's diesel-electric submarines at that. And these diesel-electrics, of course, need to come up for air every once in a while. For now, I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem, because at 4 knots, they can transit another 226 miles. So that'll keep me underway for a good while. We have a layer at 254. We're above the layer. We're already getting a noise profile from this, which is getting picked up by the Utsira and the Uthaug. And right now, we know it's a diesel engine, and I cannot tell you much more than that. Well, it's got one shaft. as opposed to 2 propeller shafts, so it's not one of the larger ships. Alright, what we got here? Sierra 7003. Commander, based on historical tracking and collection of operations, we anticipate picking up the Delta III in our current search area. Recommend loitering here to maximize sonar contact and gaining track. Understood. I'm going to push 1 to below the layer, so we can kind of have some detection on both layers. Weapons-wise, what do these things bring to the table? Well, we have the TP-613 ASUW torpedo. Anti-surface warfare. That's going to be interesting, because it means I cannot actually engage that submarine if it comes to it. So if this thing actually decides to start shooting me, it's going to be a very interesting fight, as I cannot shoot back and only run away. And they're both armed with those weapons. So, yeah. Oh, look at that. Ammo point cost. I guess that at some point they're going to make it so that we can resupply our ships. At least that's the way that I'm interpreting this. Or it's going to have to do with the campaign. We shall see. Now, what is 7002? Most likely merchant. I'm gonna... unless it's a Kazbek, but that's also a merchant. I'm gonna classify this one as neutral preemptively. What is the diameter of this search radius? About 16 miles to the other side. Okay. If it's a Delta III, I'm assuming it's gonna have to launch from just about periscope depth. There it is. So, arguably, if it comes to periscope depth to try and prepare for launch, this sub can pick it up. If it is below the layer, I'm hoping that this one is going to pick it up. Change your course a bit. The Delta is a refinement of the basic Yankee design and has formed the bulk of Soviet at-sea missile deterrent since its inception. The Delta III has been enlarged to fire a larger, longer-ranged missile and features rafted machinery for much improved quieting, although it is still much noisier than its Western counterparts. That's good, because that means it might be more easily picked up. They have a hull-mounted sonar, they have no towed array. Much the same can be said for me. Their sonar array has about 8 kilometers passive. I wish that they would just synchronize all of this stuff and say everything's going to be in miles or everything's going to be in kilometers, because this is just needlessly complex. Now let's run the time a little bit and see if we can pick up that sub. Where is that boomer? Update. Skipper. At local time 0930, the Kilauea was boarded and seized by USSR vessel shadowing her. She just turned hostile there, 7003. The crew attempted to stop the boarding, were killed in exchange of gunfire. The US views this seizure as a hostile act and tantamount to a declaration of war invoking Article 5. You've been ordered to respond immediately. Eliminate all surface USSR forces. Do not damage or destroy the Kilauea. Spec Ops teams are en route to recapture her. Interesting. Locate the USSR SAG and the Kilauea. Sink all USSR vessels. What about the missile test? Because I'm not seeing anything new about the missile test. I just know that these two are civilian. This is the Kilauea. So where does that leave us with regard to the enemy SAG? We are listening above the layer. If that SAG is... yeah, if that SAG is behind 7001, that could mean that it is making detection more difficult because of 7001. Okay, I want you to go to... let's go to PD. We're going to go to periscope depth. I'm going to raise the ESM mast. And from there, I can potentially also just spy with the periscope itself. But detection with that is much less likely. ESM, of course, might detect from farther afield, but is relying upon whether or not the USSR units are actually using their radar. That is not yet given. Depth, 80 feet, 70 feet, 50 feet, 25, Okay, 13 feet and holding. Up ESM. Helo. It's not where I was expecting you. But okay. About 35 miles out potentially. Raise periscope. Status on batteries 100%. Helo. Down there. Not where I was expecting you. Interestingly, they're just using visual detection. So this helo does not actually have their radar on. Now it's moving in a western pattern. Or western direction rather. Does that mean it is going to be flying back towards where it came from? Or did it take off from somewhere to the east? Based on where we are, I'd say that formation could be here. And yeah, that's definitely a hostile bird. I don't know where this thing came from. It is possible that it was launched by some other unit. Oh, another one. Utsira has him on visual. We know it is a helicopter. I just cannot tell you much more than that. As my periscope and ESM mast have a much smaller profile, I'm going to go with the assumption that I have not been detected. If this is indeed another helicopter, I'm gonna say that surface formation could be right around there. 10 miles, yeah, it's possible, I guess.
Track 7006.
Yep, K27PL. There's another. Oh, and we have another target here. That's the guy who's probably boarding the Kilauea. With the capability of this torpedo, 10 miles only. It is wire guided, which is very nice. Only passive sonar homing. Okay. We are to sink the Soviet SAC. We are not to deal with Kilauea. And whatever is in front of her. Or, I don't know, right next to her, potentially.
Track 7007 is classified. Hostile warship.
So, there's one contact in front of Kilauea, as we know.
Contact detected.
There is another contact to the side, which we haven't actually picked up. And there's something out there, which has all the makings of being another merchant. Okay. I'm going to try and ambush the incoming contact. We're essentially going to have to snipe out these ships around the Kilauea, freeing up the way for the Special Forces teams to make their way in there. And don't kill the Kilauea while you're at it. Great. That should make things more interesting. Change the course north.
042 Helmi. Contact faded.
I think they might not be suspecting these submarines as of yet. And diesel electrics are very quiet on that. So I'm going to use that as much as possible. I'm going to ambush these guys. I'm going to wait for them to come to me. Their present speed is 12.8 knots. And that puts them about here in an hour from now. Course is one... Oh, their course is changing, actually.
New air contact detected.
185. 190. Turning southwest.
Contact
There's another passive. There we go. That's the contact that was detected visually next to Kilauea.
is classified. Hostile helo.
They're changing course 211. Kilauea is maintaining course of 189. Okay, I'm going to assume that you guys are going to go here. So that's 12.8 in an hour at a course of 189. In an hour, we're going to be about there. So we'll be able to snipe them from extremely short range, which is not really what I want to do.
0 is classified.
I can dogleg these torpedoes, and that is what I will do. I want to make sure that these submarines don't get detected.
Contact faded. Track 7009.
Okay. I could try engaging from two different directions. Oh, it's a Cresta. With radar active. but arguably too far away from the passive... Sorry, yeah, from the ESM array here. Okay. Down scope, down mast.
Contact faded. Track 70.
I need to go above the layer.
My depth 228.
Increase to ahead 2/3,
Ahead 2/3.
which is a whole 4 knots on this boat. And I want you to turn north. Just due north. We're going to take a position here and here, and essentially shoot 2 torpedoes at them. My torpedoes, well, multiple torpedoes that is, my torpedoes are capable of going for surface targets only, and as that is the only capacity that they have, I don't have to worry about shooting myself. So I can send a volley from west to east and another one from east to west, and it is rather unlikely that I'll actually hit my own subs. There's a Cresta, and there's the Sovrameni right next to it with its radar active. Potentially it's Hilo in the air, because that would kind of line up with the Hilo being all the way over there. There's Kilauea. They are almost in weapons range. But my plan here is to send north, let's say for 3.5 miles, and then east. That way, I still have some fuel left to pursue the targets. Because a Cresta can run away at, what, 32 knots? Yeah. So I need to make sure I still have some fuel once I get my torpedoes into position. Yep, there's another one shadowing it. Okay, let it develop. I think Kilauea was kind of masking that approach. Oh, great, could be an Udaloy. Gas turbine engine. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. These guys are running 12.9 knots. Who's detecting them? Both. Okay, go below the layer. I'm going to shoot from below the layer to make my attack as stealthy as possible. And once we have that attack underway, I wonder what these ships are going to do. I'm going to keep the wire as long as possible because I really want to make sure I don't hit Kilauea. That's probably going to be mission over. Yeah, it's an Udaloy. We're going to send 4 torpedoes. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 2. 3. 4. Torpedoes underway. Torpedoes go north, torpedoes head east. If they shoot back, they're going to shoot back at that bearing, which is not where I will be. I'm going to tell you to go ahead 1/3. Turn east. Cresta, 6 miles out. So if I turn my torpedoes here, that's about 2 miles, and then... yeah, we got plenty of fuel. They're already a mile away from the Uthaug, or however you're supposed to pronounce that. 5.44 from the Cresta. Unfortunately, I've lost the Sovrameni and the Udaloy. I really want to talk these torpedoes right onto their target. Otherwise, I risk hitting my main... my main thing, which is not supposed to die. Their captured ship. 4 miles. You're gonna go long. If they shoot back now, they're gonna shoot like that, which will keep the Uthaug safe. These things are only passive sonar homing, so they're not gonna give a whole lot of warning in the sense of active pings reaching the enemy targets. Change your course. Change your course. Don't lock onto anything unless otherwise directed. Go to ahead 1/3. I need your ears. I want you to come up to above the layer as well. Keep these things away from the Kilauea. There you go. Hostile, hostile. Still no action on the part of the Soviets. Alright. You're gonna go there. You're gonna attack this, I think it was a Sovremeni. Off you go. This thing's now locked on. Actually, no. It's tasked with going after 7013. It's not locked on yet. Depth 300 feet. It needs to come up. Assigning target. Sovremeni confirmed. Sovremeni still doing 12.8 knots. Course 189. So they're still on course directly through this path. Oh, this merchant got in the way. Well, that ought to make it more interesting. For anti-surface torpedoes, these things are cruising really low at 300 feet. This guy's coming up, though. I think they might be coming up just when they're about to reach the target. Unfortunately, I still don't know exactly where the Udaloy is. So I'm kind of going to guess it. 160 feet down. 150. 130. There you are. I think they have absolutely no idea they're about to get hit. No, this thing's merely derping forward. Alright then. Take no action. Get rewarded. Sort of. Other torpedoes are also going to attack the Cresta 2. Damage to the Sovremeni is unknown. There's no fire aboard. That's for one. They could be having flooding issues, but their propulsion is still functional. Torpedoes are about to engage the Cresta. Hit. Oh, that was a kill. That was an instant kill. There you go. Cresta eliminated. Sovremeni looks to be listing over to starboard. Engage. This must be a right annoying blow to the Soviets. That's an expensive cruiser you got there. We're bypassing the wounded Sovremeni. And we're now engaging the Udaloy behind it. 7012. Up. Changing course slightly. There you are. There you are. Hit.
7012.
Kilauea is slowing down. Because probably she was following the Cresta, and now she doesn't really know what to do. Yeah, that's a merchant. What about the others? Udaloy appears to be badly, badly damaged. What about this one? The annoying bit is, the Udaloy... Oh, sorry, the Sovremeni is now so slow that she's not making enough noise for me to pick her up. Which is actually rather surprising at this range of 5 miles. She does look to be listing a lot over to starboard. Her air search has now essentially turned into a surface search with that angle. Let's see, are you gonna sink on your own accord, or do you need another dose? I think they might need another dose. 1, 2. Leaves me with 2 torpedoes aboard the Utaug. These targets should be easier now. I'm kind of expecting the Udaloy to die. The thing's badly listing over to starboard and burning, which is a very important distinction in this game, because fire will kill you. Just got increasing amounts of damage. Fire is going to also typically eventually cause flooding. And that's, well, that's just it for the formation there. Ideally, I'd go to periscope depth and pick up these targets manually, but I find that to be a bit dangerous with that submarine. So we're going to do it with the other one. And at 7 to 8 miles, I should have detection on it. Continue on your course. Report. PD. Okay, up scope. There you are. That's what I wanted to know. You take this one. You take this one. Engage. Yeah, we got them both on visual. These guys are looking bad. Just how I like it. Torpedoes closing in. They're already badly wounded on the starboard side. This torpedo is probably going to make it a lot worse. Right on the bow. Now they're on fire. Come on. There you go. Sovremeni out of commission. The Otlichny. And this is the Marshal Valievsky. BPK 412. Or rather, it was. On her better days. She's going to have another torpedo go right through her bow, most likely. And that ought to be it. Oh, right on the stern. Okay, fine. Rolling over. There we go. Good work, Commander. Fall back towards the GIUK gap and wait for further orders. Your mission to shadow the Delta III is scrubbed. Prepare your crew and boat for all-out hostilities with the Warsaw Pact. Understood. So that's job done. That's mission 1 complete. Sniped out 3 enemy vessels. No damage to either of my submarines. And I think I was very efficient with my weaponry as well. I didn't actually waste any torpedo. They all connected. I didn't get hunted much. Even though their helicopters were out there. I'm looking forward to the next one. And I hope you are too. Up soon on the channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you there.